the biggest thing for us this year is our player weapons, and it's a big focus around what we've done with gameplay and how we're really trying to make the players dynamic and unique on the field this year. We've got a series of icons that are positioned underneath the players pre-snap, and you can also pull up a grid as well that allows you to identify your players on the field. But once the ball snaps, those icons go away because we don't want to obscure and obstruct the look of the game, so you can actually very clearly and very cleanly see what's happening on the field. But the big thing about this feature, man, is that we're trying to make sure that we really call out the superstars of the NFL. The NFL's got a dynamic range of great players, but we want to make sure we bring the superstars to the surface, and that's what our player weapon system is about. And we didn't want to just call them out with some icons and just have the gameplay that we had before. We wanted to actually make sure we had gameplay that was unique for these players that are supposed to be special players, and actually have unique mechanics for these players, and actually have different ways where they can impact and dominate a game. But the cool thing about every one of these weapons is that we made sure that for every weapon ability there's a counter. So for example, if you've got a guy who's a great possession receiver, you got a big hitter that can counter that guy, or a shutdown corner. If you got a guy who's a power back who can just run people over, you got hit stick 2.0 where you can go low, take this guy's legs out. So with everything we do, we want to make sure there's a balance for these guys, so that one weapon doesn't just dominate the experience of the game. What we've done is right from the surface, from team select, we show you what teams have what weapons, so you can say, okay, these guys have some good players basically. Then you get on the field, and as the guys are running out, you'll actually see we have a different presentation for the guys who are weapons. So to run on the field, we freeze it, we show you what weapon type they are, and all that's to allow the novice user to understand these are the players I'm bringing on the field, this is what they do well. Then once you actually get on the field, we have this weapon scrim where the icons are underneath the players, so you understand who they are, and it separates them from everyone else, and all right, these are the guys that I want to get the ball to. So on the most base level, you're going to see the fact that, well, this guy's got an icon, and this guy doesn't, this guy must be able to do something good. And as you start to play with them, and you go through tutorials, different things, you understand how they're unique and what they do well. Yeah, his stick 2.0 is new for this year. We have the ability to use a hit stick, the right stick, to just actually take a player out, go for a big hit, try to knock the ball loose. And what we saw was happening is that, when you guy has somebody like a power back, and he's going up against a small player, he could just continue to run over, and it was starting to be a little bit of an exploit in our game. And so what we did is we had the ability to tackle player low. So now, regardless of who you're bringing to the table, when you're going into a tackle matchup, if you use a hit stick and go low and hit stick 2.0, you can actually take a player's legs out. Some of the other things we have too is mid-air collisions. So if the ball's thrown in the air, we got all these spectacular catches and these possession catches that our receivers do this year. Well, now with his stick 2.0, when the ball's in the air, you can actually go for a hit as well and try to time it just right so you don't get a pass interference and actually break plays up, using your big hitters in the secondary. It's really about, your stick skills at Madden this year. So in the past where a player might have been taken out of bounds, now, a hard move upfield, your player's going to break out of that and take it upfield. If you own a next-gen console of any sort, you have to own Madden. I mean, it is the most visually compelling sports game that's out there. The thing is beautiful to look at, but on top of that, we have done and taken some major strides to actually make the game very accessible for the casual fans. So you can pick up and play, and if you're a fan of the NFL, this is obviously the only NFL football game out there, but not just that, we take the steps to make sure that this game plays like NFL football. I mean, it's a lot of fun to play this year. It's getting easier and easier to control, for the pick up and play guy, but at the same time, for a person who's a longtime fan of the series, this is the Madden they have to own.